your weekly in-depth view of agriculture up close. This is In the Field. Beef, it's what's for dinner. In my home and in many homes throughout the area. Today, we're here to meet a good friend of mine, Cassie Glassman, who lives and raises beef in Halltown, Missouri. We've brought our girls together to hop in the kitchen and talk beef. Hey guys! Hey Nora!
Hi Nora!
Hey, come on in!
Thank you!
Happy to have you guys.
So Cassie, we're going to talk about the beef industry. We both born and raised in it. We've known each other for a few years, but a few. Making us feel old with our girls sitting here. But you actually knew my husband Kevin first. Where did you guys meet?
So we would have met when I was probably around 14, and that was the time that my family started competitively showing Charolais cattle on a national basis. We lived in Wyoming at the time. I was the sixth generation on our family's 20,000 acre cattle ranch. And so we had a background in raising cattle, and so it was natural to start competitively showing, and that's where I met Kevin.
That's where you
and
met
subsequently my husband.
So kind of talk about transitioning from out west and ranching to the rolling hills of the Ozarks.
Well, cows are cows, no matter where we talk about them, but Wyoming agriculture is so different.
It is.
Just because the nature of the grass and the resources you utilize, the different climates, and so adapting to Missouri took a little while. One of the things that I did when I was going to be more active in our operation was to go out to grazing school, just to get that background of like, what do we do on fescue? Like, how do you manage it? What's the best way to manage it? And so it has been a learning process, and that is for sure.
So today you're raising, Simmental cattle with your husband, Ian, and branching out to kind of a niche market when it comes to the beef industry.
Yeah.
You're selling, growing local beef. You're also not raising beef to meet any other forms of labels. How
Correct.
did you kind of create that market originally?
So Ian and I are running between 100 and 120 head of cows. And so like at the end of the calf crop, you have your heifers and your males, and usually if you're running a registered operation, you're probably going to market your bulls, right? That's usually what we do. And we, being smaller in size and kind of younger, we ended up just sitting on our bulls. Finally, we looked and we're like, what could we do differently? And so the next year we decided to castrate more males than usual, and go ahead and feed those out and see if we couldn't sell them either as halves or quarters. And so that was where we started. And to this point, we castrate all of our males, and either we sell them or background them and sell them, or they do go into our beef program. And so that's where we're at now, and that need just came out of figuring out how could we make more money with these cattle, because we're on limited resources and we have to make every animal pay for themselves.
And I think that what we talk about diversity in agriculture, but if you think of the diversity in your operation just in the beef industry, you're filling lots of niches there, or lots of voids there, and figuring out what you can do with each animal and make them pay for themselves.
Make them pay for themselves, exactly. And so as we were talking about this, and I asked some of my other friends in agriculture when I was thinking of selling direct to consumer, I was like, is anybody going to buy it if it doesn't have the organic or grass finished, all natural? Because we're not an organic operation, and we don't intend to be. It doesn't make sense for our operation to go through that certification process. And I had a friend tell me, and she was super encouraging, and she said, local trumps anything that I've seen. And so that is really our niche. Is we are not intending to ship our beef, sea to sea. We are intending to serve our neighbors here in the Ozark.
When you talk about a ton of people to feed, it's a ton of people that are leaning more towards wanting to know where their food comes from. And so being local, located right just off the interstate, 15, 20 minutes outside of Springfield, you're able to really let them visit the farm and see where their food's coming from and fill that void.
Yeah, so we like to open up the ranch as much as we can, because I think it's important for them to really see a real operation. We're on 330 acres, and so we're not a hobby farm with just a
Right.
few cows in the backyard. We are doing everything that responsible ranchers we think should, vaccinating, herd management, and trying to manage our pastures and rotationally graze. And so I like the opportunity to provide those kind of educational components in the story of our beef, and to talk to our consumers about that, because that's a great connecting point for them to understand what really matters.
So as we continue our conversation, let's jump in the kitchen and see what we can whip up.
That sounds great.
So a go-to in your house I see is ground beef.
Yes.
I have it ready to go every day because you never know what meal you're going to throw together. So what are we cooking here today?
Okay, so I know you're a mom like me, and you know that there comes a time in the week when things are empty, things are bare. And so today I happen to have all the ingredients for one of my favorite lunches that I like to make, which is beef egg roll in a bowl. It's awesome because it uses ground beef. We always have it. I had some thought out. I tend to go with kind of whatever veggies I have. Usually it's cabbage based. It's a great way to get in a lot of extra veggies. The way that I make it is it cooks super easy on the stove, plus it reheats awesome. So like I love to eat it for lunches.
For a couple days in a row.
For a couple days in a row at least.
Okay, well, you know, I know that you're pretty big into CrossFit, and that was kind of one of the avenues where you saw a niche market for beef. And talk about the nutritional elements in beef and why you choose to feed it to your family, but why so many of your clients do too.
Sure. A lot of folks are looking to add whole foods to their diet. And so a lot of people in the fitness community are looking for those great protein sources, and beef soup really fits that mold. It packs a huge amount of protein, 25 grams per serving, and a serving size of beef is smaller than an iPhone. So a lot of people in the fitness community, and honestly, it's the, you know, we're
Beyond just fitness.
beyond just fitness, people looking to eat healthier. And the more that they search for that high quality protein, it's bringing them into people like farmers like us that are raising and marketing direct to the consumer.
Now, you mentioned your website, but you have a great Facebook and social media following, because beyond just advertising what beef, you're teaching people. So kind of talk me through, as I take another bite, where people can find you online, but also your goals in social media and the educational component.
Sure, I think it's so important just to connect with the customers, because we are all...
This is really good, by the way.
Good, that's awesome. We are all having the same struggles in the kitchen. We really are. We're all short on time. We get stuck making the same things over and over, and we don't know kind of what else we could do with a pound of ground beef. And so from my perspective, I like to show people kind of the tips and tricks that I use in my home. Hopefully it helps them out. But we do that on Facebook predominantly. So we have a Blue Silo Beef business Facebook page. You can find us there. And we also have a Facebook group, which is kind of new. It's our Top Cut Customers and Fans group. And in that group, we talk a lot more, share a lot more recipes. I do flash deals, and those are my best customers who are in that group and really looking to connect and to learn more about different beef cuts that they can incorporate into their diet.
And I think it's important that, you know, I raise my own beef and others do, but there's still an educational component that you're sharing. So whether you're outside of your local distribution, other side of the Ozarks, or whether you're inside, or whether you're in the beef market or not, there's still great recipes and great sense of community that you've created there.
I know at our scale, serving customers, you know, our beef, that's not how we're gonna feed the world, but we can show people the importance of agriculture so that they understand like that it's worth, you know, investing locally in.